The courtroom was unusually loud that morning. Parents whispered from the audience benches while reporters adjusted their cameras near the back wall. At the center of the case stood a thin, gray-haired janitor named Walter Green. His old maintenance uniform looked freshly ironed, but the exhaustion in his eyes was impossible to hide. Across from him sat Vanessa Carter, a wealthy private school administrator wearing an expensive white blazer and diamond earrings that caught the courtroom lights every time she moved. Judge Judy glanced over the file in front of her. "Mr. Green," she began sharply, "you worked at this school for 22 years. Walter nodded quietly. "Yes, Your Honor." "And now they're accusing you of stealing nearly $40,000 worth of electronics." Vanessa leaned forward immediately. "Not accusing," she interrupted confidently. "We have evidence." Judge Judy raised an eyebrow. "You'll speak when I ask." The courtroom became silent. Walter adjusted the hearing aid attached to his left ear. His hands trembled slightly as he reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Judge Judy noticed it instantly. "What's that?" Walter swallowed hard. "My resignation letter." A few people in the audience exchanged glances. Judge Judy frowned. "You already resigned." Walter nodded slowly. "I didn't think anybody would believe me." Vanessa smirked beside her attorney. That expression didn't escape Judge Judy, and she hated smugness, especially before evidence had been examined. The lawsuit had started 2 months earlier after expensive school laptops, tablets, and camera equipment mysteriously disappeared from storage rooms at Brookdale Academy, one of the most expensive private schools in the state. The school administration claimed Walter had access to every room in the building. Security logs showed his maintenance keycard entering restricted areas several nights before the equipment vanished. To Vanessa Carter, the conclusion was obvious. Old janitor, financial problems, easy access, perfect suspect. But something about the case bothered Judge Judy immediately. Mostly because Walter didn't behave like guilty people usually behaved. He wasn't defensive, wasn't angry, wasn't trying too hard to convince anyone. Instead, he looked defeated, like a man who had already accepted losing. Judge Judy leaned back. "Mr. Green, are you stealing from this school?" Walter looked directly at her. "No, Mom." Vanessa rolled her eyes dramatically. Judge Judy snapped toward her instantly. "You keep doing that and you'll be outside." The audience became quiet again. Walter slowly explained that he had worked at Brookdale Academy since his early 40s. He cleaned classrooms, repaired broken desks, fixed heating systems, and often stayed overnight during storms to protect the building from flooding. He knew every hallway, every teacher, every student. Many former students still visited him years later. Some even called him Mr. Walter more warmly than they spoke to administrators. But 6 months earlier, the school hired Vanessa Carter as financial director, and according to Walter, everything changed after that. "She started cutting staff," he explained softly. "Teachers disappeared. Cafeteria workers disappeared. Even the school nurse left." Vanessa crossed her arms. "We were reducing unnecessary spending," Walter continued. "But somehow the administration offices got renovated." A few people in the audience reacted quietly. New marble floors, new furniture. Expensive office decorations. Judge Judy's eyes narrowed. Vanessa quickly jumped in. "That has nothing to do with theft." "Maybe it does," Judge Judy replied calmly. Vanessa fell silent. Walter explained that strange deliveries started arriving late at night. Boxes, equipment, furniture. But according to him, some of those items never appeared inside the school afterward. At first, he ignored it. Until one evening, he noticed something strange in the underground parking garage, a black SUV, no license plate on the front. 2 men loading school laptops into the vehicle. Walter claimed he recognized one of them immediately. Vanessa's younger brother. The courtroom murmured loudly. Vanessa laughed in disbelief. "This is ridiculous." Judge Judy stared at her. Quiet. Walter explained that after witnessing the transfer, he reported it privately to the school board chairman, but 2 days later, he was suddenly accused of theft himself. Judge Judy tapped her pen slowly against the desk. Now the courtroom had her attention. "Do you have proof?" she asked. Walter hesitated, then slowly reached into his pocket again. This time he pulled out a tiny silver flash drive. Vanessa's face changed instantly. It was subtle, but Judge Judy noticed. And when Judge Judy notices fear, people usually start losing cases. "What's on the drive?" she asked. Walter looked nervous. "I installed security cameras in the maintenance tunnels 3 years ago after copper pipes were stolen." Vanessa's attorney immediately stood up. "Your Honor, unauthorized recordings." Judge Judy cut him off. "Sit down. I'll decide what matters." The courtroom screen powered on. Walter handed the flash drive to the bailiff. Seconds later, grainy black and white footage appeared on the monitor. The timestamp showed 2:13 a.m., a maintenance hallway beneath the school. Then suddenly, Vanessa's brother appeared on screen carrying boxes. Behind him walked 2 other men. And several seconds later, Vanessa herself entered the frame. The courtroom exploded with whispers. Judge Judy's expression hardened immediately. The footage clearly showed electronics being moved through maintenance corridors toward the underground garage. But then something even worse happened. Vanessa pointed directly toward one of the hallway cameras. The men immediately stopped. One of them covered the lens with black tape. The video ended. Judge Judy turned slowly toward Vanessa. "Would you like to explain why you're in a maintenance tunnel at 2 o'clock in the morning carrying school property?" Vanessa's looked completely different now. No confidence, no smile, just panic. Her attorney quickly leaned toward her, whispering frantically, but Judge Judy wasn't finished. "Actually," she said coldly, "I'm more interested in why this man suddenly became your suspect immediately after reporting suspicious activity." Vanessa stammered, I didn't know he reported anything." Walter quietly lifted another document. An email printout sent to the school board chairman, typed 3 days before the accusations began. The courtroom erupted again. Judge Judy examined the paper carefully. Then she noticed something else. The school board chairman never responded, not once. Interesting, very interesting. Judge Judy suddenly requested the chairman be contacted immediately. An hour later, everything collapsed. The elderly chairman entered the courtroom looking nervous before even sitting down. Judge Judy wasted no time. "Did Mr. Green report suspicious activity to you?" The man hesitated, too long, then finally nodded. "Yes." Vanessa closed her eyes. The chairman admitted he ignored the warning because Vanessa had convinced him Walter was becoming confused due to age and hearing problems. That statement changed the atmosphere completely. Judge Judy's face darkened. So instead of investigating the theft, she said slowly, "You allowed this man to become the scapegoat." The chairman looked ashamed. But the biggest twist hadn't arrived yet. Judge Judy asked one final question. "Who approved the insurance claims for the stolen equipment?" Silence. Then Vanessa quietly answered, "I did." Judge Judy leaned forward. "And how much money did the school receive from those claims?" The number stunned the courtroom. Nearly $300,000. Far more than the actual value of the missing equipment. Now everything made sense. The theft wasn't random. It was insurance fraud. The electronics were secretly sold while the school collected massive insurance payouts. And Walter was simply the perfect person to blame. Old Kit, hearing impaired, working class, easy target. Judge Judy stared at Vanessa with visible disgust. "You tried to destroy a man who spent 22 years serving children." Vanessa began crying, but nobody felt sympathy anymore. Judge Judy then turned toward Walter. For the first time all day, her voice softened. "Mr. Green, why didn't you hire a lawyer?" Walter smiled weakly. "I spent most of my savings helping my granddaughter." Judge Judy paused. "What happened to your granddaughter?" Walter looked down briefly. She lost her hearing at age 6. The courtroom became completely silent. And every surgery, every therapy appointment, I paid for by working overtime at that school. Even Judge Judy stopped speaking for a moment. Walter continued quietly. I stayed because the students felt like family. Several audience members wiped tears from their eyes. Judge Judy slowly removed her glasses. That almost never happened. Then she delivered the ruling. The case against Walter Green was dismissed immediately. Judge Judy further recommended criminal investigation into the school administration, insurance filings, and financial department operations. But before ending the session, she said something nobody expected. Looking directly at Walter, Judge Judy spoke softly. You deserved loyalty from the people you served. Walter lowered his head emotionally. And instead, she continued, glaring toward Vanessa, they chose greed. The courtroom remained silent as Vanessa sat frozen beside her attorney, but the final moment became the one people remembered online for weeks afterward. As Walter prepared to leave the courtroom, a young girl entered quietly from the back doors, about 10 years old, wearing hearing aids, his granddaughter. She ran toward him and hugged him tightly. Walter immediately broke down crying. And for the first time that day, Judge Judy looked away from the courtroom entirely because even she was trying not to cry.